One of the things that has made our economy traditionally one of the strongest in the world is the fact that American companies have to compete against others who are constantly creating new innovations which produce a better value for the consumer. A company which is content to rest on its laurels will soon find its sales and profits in a state of serious decline. Unfortunately, we have developed an education system which operates in a monopolistic environment. The result is a system which concentrates on meeting the needs of the organization rather than meeting the needs of the consumers. Here we see the results from a recent survey by the National Center for Education Statistics as reported by the Program for International Student Assessment. As you can see, families in the United States are not getting a lot of bang for their bucks. I have a master's degree and many years of experience in all aspects of education. My experience, however, was in the private sector, not the public sector. Since I had to compete with other education organizations for students, I had to be continually developing new innovations to offer a better product than my competitors. In the 80s, I was a pioneer in using computers and video in a vocational school. I wrote over 300 pages of original teaching material and introduced new courses into the curriculum. I did this because I wanted to offer a better product than the competition. Since public schools do not have to compete, they do not have the same incentive for innovation. I have developed a strategy to remedy this situation. We need to rethink our entire strategy regarding education. Our current system focuses on what the teacher is teaching. There are two basic problems with this. First, any teacher who has been teaching longer than 30 days will agree that students do not always learn everything the teacher has taught. And second, students learn from a variety of sources. They learn from their parents, their friends, their churches, television, reading, and the internet. The current system takes none of this into account. The current system also fails to take into account different learning styles. Some students are visual learners. Others learn best by listening. Some are manual learners. But the current system requires all students to adapt to the style currently in use by the teacher. Usually this is a lecture. Even when this is augmented by reading assignments and visual aids, these materials are the same for all students. Again, students are forced to endure an inadequate learning environment. As you see in this diagram, the best results are achieved by using a variety of methods. When I taught a pre-employment work maturity class for the Department of Labor, we found that the most effective teachers are often the students. I consider myself an effective communicator, but I do not speak 21st century teenager. Furthermore, as a great-grandfather, some students might not relate to me as well as they relate to their classmates. Peer tutoring is an effective tool for both the learner and the facilitator. Current systems require all students in a class to learn the same thing at the same time, at the same speed, using the same method. So students march through the system in lockstep. Not all students learn at the same speed. So the current system forces the teacher to either leave some behind while they forge ahead with their schedule, or leave some bored to death while they try to help the others catch up. Either way deprives some students of the optimal learning environment. This is a natural result of a top-down flow of authority and resources. Here we see the structure of the U.S. Department of Education. Notice that a lot of bureaucracy takes place before information and resources reach those with responsibility for the actual classroom environment. Even here, the classroom is only one of several areas of responsibility. And it's the same at the state level. Once again, the learning facilities are at the bottom of the food chain. And it's the same at the local school board level. Bureaucracy eats up a lot of time, effort, and resources before reaching the local schools, forcing the schools to scramble for resources to meet the needs of their students and their families. It's time we put the focus back where it belongs, on what the student is learning. I would replace the current system with individual learning contracts for each student. Parents would meet with school officials periodically to review student progress and develop learning contracts. Under the terms of the contract, the school, parents, and student would agree that the student would acquire certain competencies by a certain date using certain methods, procedures, and resources. They would agree on the method by which the student would acquire these competencies and how the student would demonstrate proficiency. This would allow the student to learn the right skills at the right speed using the right method. Students would receive periodic reinforcements for their achievement, which would encourage further achievement. Since the student will be involved in developing this contract, he will have a personal commitment to achieving it. He will not see it as something being forced on him by uncaring strangers. The net result would be the students learning more, faster, with less expense on the part of the school. There is, however, one major drawback to my plan. It would require the parents to actually become involved in their child's education. Parents would no longer be able to use the school as a combination dumping ground and babysitting service. Like the song says, every rose has its thorns. Thank you for joining us.